Welcome guys to another video where we hack the box. Let's get started. So I've already connected, as you can see right here, to the starting point. Today we're going to be we're not going to be working on tier 0 and these VIP boxes. Instead, we are going to go straight to tier 1 and do these 3 boxes. And we unfortunately have more boxes here, but we can't access them unless we are VIP. So we'll see about getting that, like I said last video, but for now, let's continue with the free version. So let's go ahead and go into our Terminator or terminal, whichever you use. All right, so we're gonna go into CTF, but instead of going to tier 0 here, we're just gonna go into starting point, and we're gonna be making a new directory called tier 1. But let's just see how we did it last time, because we want to be consistent. And we are gonna go in here. Now we gotta make the folder. It's called appointment. And we're gonna go in here. And we're gonna be making a couple things. First, the mmap folder. Then we're going to be creating a Sublime README text, and that should be it. Let's go back here, open this up, and spawn the machine. Okay, so let's copy that IP and put it in here. And we'll have our scan there. Number 1. What does the acronym for SQL stand for? Hint. A simple Google search will yield the answer. Use camel case. All right, so we did a Google search here, and we can see that SQL stands for Structured Query Language. You can read more about it here. But we're just going to copy this. And we are going to be going here, pasting that there. Submit the answer. One thing to note, if you don't know anything and you're barely starting to learn what all these concepts are in this README file, what I would suggest you do is you do this and type in the questions that are being asked for you to be able to come back. And let's say you forgot about this, you haven't used SQL and you don't remember much about it, so maybe 6 months pass by and then you find another box that uses SQL. Probably unlikely. You're going to probably use a lot of boxes that use SQL. But if that happens to you, maybe you don't do this for a while and you want to come back to it later on, then you'll have some reference for you waiting. The answer is that. I'm sorry I haven't been doing this, but it's a good practice for you to do it if you're new. This question is, what is one of the most common type of SQL vulnerabilities? Not sure if you have done any website development, but if you have, you probably have heard of this before. The most common type of SQL vulnerability is actually an SQL injection, and we can actually, if you don't know what that means, we'll probably do that in this video, and I'll explain to you where this is and how this happens. But for now, this is the answer. Before we put that in there, let's go into the hint. And it says it's mentioned in the write-ups introduction section. So if you want to go to the write-ups, you can go to the write-up, or we can do a Google search. Vulnerability common. And you can see the first result is SQL injection. And there's a cheat sheet which might be helpful. I can't speak today. Helpful for us. But let's submit that answer. Number 3. What does PII stand for? Let's go here. Oh. And we're gonna say PII. So PII stands for personally identifiable information. Pretty much it's any data that could potentially identify a specific individual. This is gonna be passwords, usernames, location, anything like that. Let's see what some of the examples here. Social security number, passport, driver's license, taxpayer ID, patient ID, financial account numbers, credit card numbers. So that's some of that there. Feel free to go into more in-depth in here. Let's see what they say here. It's got location data, name, physical attributes, health information, economic, cultural, and/or social identity of a person, ID numbers, online identifiers, including IP addresses, and so on and so forth. So there's both digital, which we care as hackers. Both we care about digital and physical information. There is a certain sequence of steps that someone would need to take if you want to target someone. So first you want to learn about them, and once you have enough information, then you can start your attack. But we are ethical hackers, so we do need to know how to do this, but do not attempt this on someone unless you ask for permission, and do not dox people. All right, so we have that stuff. Let's go back here, and we're gonna say personal, what was it? Identifiable information? Yeah, personally identifiable information. Let's read the hint real quick. It's a common term found in user data protection. Use camel case. Okay. So let's put that in there and submit. What does OWASP top 10 list name the classification for this vulnerability? Okay. So let's see. So if you aren't familiar what OWASP is, I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but it's pretty much right here. And that is, it's a standard awareness document for developers and web application security. It represents a broad consensus about the most critical, and then I can't read it anymore. Most critical security risk to web applications. Not sure if we can actually find the acronym, what it stands for yet, but that's what it is. It's really useful, especially if you're new to hacking. It's kind of like a list of what things you could do as well. Here's injection. Let's click on it. And here are some scenarios and examples of what injections are. So I'm guessing it's this one. Let's copy that and try to see if this is it. I'm actually not sure if it is or not, but I'm guessing it is because we are talking about injection. What servers and version are running on port 80 of the target? So we've got to do our scan now. And let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say nmap, and we've got to go get our IP address, paste, there. I misspelled nmap when we created the folder. Okay, so port 80 has HTTP. It's got Apache running. It's Debian apparently, and it's 2.4.38. The title page is login, and the server header says Apache blah 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 blah. So let's copy all of this. Let's go here, paste our scan there. And here it says what service and version are running. So it's going to be so the version is this, and the service is HTTP. So I guess that. Let's see if they like it. Okay, so it's got, I see. So it's gonna be Apache. This is kind of helpful because they tell you what the format they want it on. So essentially, they want this whole thing. Number 6. Oh wait, that was number, no, we are number 6. What is the standard port used for the HTTPS protocol? I believe we did this in one of the first videos we did with the new one. We can do a quick Google search, and we can also, we haven't been looking at the hints. It's different from the unsecured version. Yes, that's true. It's a 3-digit number. And we can just do a simple Google search, HTTPS port. And we say it's 443. So that's going to be 443. And we go back here and it's 443. Paste and complete. What is one luck-based method of exploiting login pages? Luck-based, this is what we like to call brute forcing. Let's look at the hint before we go and do that. Remember to add a dash of word lists. So when we are brute forcing, we are literally trying to, we have a list, like a list of, or a bucket of a lot of different usernames or passwords or whatever you're trying to hack or track. And we literally go from the top of the list all the way to the bottom of the list, sending requests every time and trying to see what sticks. This is called brute forcing. It can make a lot of noise, so this is not the preferred method of doing it, because one, if they did something correctly when they were when they created that login form, they can lock you out, and they're gonna send someone a notification that somebody is trying to log into their account or into the server. So both the admins, the system administrators, are going to know, and the person being hacked is going to know. So they're probably going to be changing, if they're smart, they're going to be changing their password. I've had that happen to me many times, and every time that happens, I'm like, oh, I don't know that IP. I try to find the IP, but it's usually like they use like a VPN. But you know that when that happens, I'm like, oh, new password. You can either make a new password, or you can find a generator that gets you a new password. And you should always use one of those password management software that encrypts your data and locks it. I wouldn't save those passwords onto your browser. That's really bad. I don't like to do that, because anybody, like, they can hack that too, pretty easily. So we're gonna hit submit. Number 8. Boop. What is a folder called in web application terminology? Folder called? I've always called it a folder. I don't know. Let's see. Whenever I'm a bad employee, I get called to the directory. There it is. Yes, it's not called just for web application terminology, but if you're a programmer, if you like to use that word, then you use directories. Directory. Boom. And we have it here, right? Yes, we do. 9. Awesome. So we now want to What response code is given for not found errors? That is easy. It should be 404. You can find it with a quick Google search. Yes. If you've ever tried to find a page, and the link is broken, usually they redirect you to a 404 page. We can also find this out. Web error codes not found. We can see right away it's 404, as like we said. If the server does not know or has no facility to determine whether or not the condition is permanent, the status code 404 not found should be used instead. This response is cacheable unless indicated otherwise. So if you keep getting something, if they probably fixed it and you are still trying to like find it, then you probably need to clear your cache, because it's probably gonna cache it somewhere and you're still gonna see that issue. And I mean, I guess, yeah, right here we can see all of them right here. If you're interested, you probably don't need to know all of them, but you do need to know some of them. All right, so submit, success, and we gotta do 404. All right, 10. What switch do we use with GoBuster to specify we're looking to discover directories and not subdomains? This is pretty simple. If you've never used GoBuster, GoBuster is a tool that allows you to kind of brute forcefully determine the structure of the website you're trying to attack. The switch that we need is dir to let it know that we want directories. We can look at the hint, shorthand for directories. That's exactly it. So let's just submit. We don't need any further information to solve that. But if you didn't even know what shorthand for directories was, you can always Google that. What shorthand for directory. And I mean, you can see it right there, dir. You can also see it here, dir. What symbol do we use to comment out parts of the code? This is different depending on what language you're trying to comment out. It's got an asterisk, so I want to say it's that, but I'm not sure. Hint, hashtag stay humble, so hashtag. I was wrong. So if you're in C, C++, is that, or that. So yeah, I guess for this is hashtag submit. So before we move on, if we don't know what language this was, I think it's for SQL, because this whole thing is about SQL, right? So I just wanted to showcase this. So what we can do to find out is we can say, well, one, if we think that is SQL, then we can do SQL comment, or what is SQL comment, or something like that. But let's say that thought didn't come into our mind. So let's check out how we can actually see what language has the hashtag for comments. So all right. So we can just go here and we can do Control F and do hashtag, and this comes up. So here it's telling us that it is MySQL. Now what we have to do is the fun part. We get to hack this thing. So where do we start on this whole thing? First, we want to go back here, and well, actually not here. We want to go back. Where is we? Right here. We know. What do we know? We know that that this is a server, a website. It's HTTP port 80, and this is what it's running. So we can access this through our browser. It's a login page, and that's all we know. So let's do that. New tab. Let's copy the IP address here. We're gonna paste and we're gonna go. And this is what we get. Okay, so cool. Now what? First thing that we want to go and do is we want to right click, go to view page source, or we can also go into inspect, but this is going to show everything. And what are we looking for here? Well, sometimes we can look for links that might stand out. Right now, all these links don't really stand out to me because they're normal. They're just cascading style sheet links that, you know, tell this page how to render. So there's nothing really. And then this is the favicon that you see right here on the top of that tab. And we also have here the background image, which doesn't really say anything. These don't really tell me anything. They don't really provide any form of me hacking the system or doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing. So sometimes you might also find what is it called? Passwords, or not passwords, but usernames, right? But there's nothing here, nothing at all. So let's go back here, and what we can do is we can run a GoBuster we can use GoBuster to check the layout, or the, yeah, I guess the layout of the website. So this directive, or this switch, is gonna let GoBuster know that we want to look at directories. and not subdomains, just like we saw in here. The tag EU specifies the URL, which is going to be our website, and the tag W is going to be a word list that we're going to be using to brute force so pretty much what this program is doing is gonna make a request from these directories that we have in here. So it's gonna be like, it's pretty much gonna do, that, and then it's gonna try to see if it can reach it. If it reaches it, it's gonna tell us. If it doesn't reach it, it's gonna tell us too. And we can actually write a program like this in Python, but we're using GoBuster because it's already built for us. And what TACX does is it's just gonna tell this program that we want these file types. We want to look for any file types that match these: PHP scripts, HTML, JSON, JavaScript, XML, and text. And this is just getting rid of any output that might be garbage. So we can just run it, and right off the bat we get two images and index.php. Well, if we go to index.php, it's just going to lead us here because we haven't been logged in, and this is that page. Let's do a new tab. The next one is images. And we can browse here. This is the background image that we're using here. They have icons. This is just the icon we saw earlier. So it's got nothing that we care about. And we see other ones which they're not of any use. Sometimes we get something called like a robots.txt, but that doesn't exist here. Usually what that has, it has like a outline of the hierarchy within this. It's got a sitemap pretty much. Another thing that we can look, because we know we don't want we don't have a username, so we can try to see if we're trying to find the root, right? And usually the root is an administrator, so that tells us that, that might hint to us that we need an admin password, because we may be able to guess what the username would be, right? Could be admin, or it could be something else. What I want to do is I want to have this open by pressing F12, and this is going to allow us to see what happens when we press login with this. And so here we have the headers. No cookies. This is what we sent. This is the response, which didn't really give us anything. We can look at the raw data to see if they hid anything that might be useful for us. but it doesn't seem like they are posting any errors. Sometimes it's useful when they do post errors and they say the username was correct, but the password isn't correct. That tells, because that's going to confirm to us that the username was correct. So we found a username that we can use, but in this case, it's not doing anything like that, unfortunately. So this is not going to help us at all. What I am thinking though, because they were asking about SQL injections and all that stuff, and this is an SQL thing, we can possibly use an SQL injection to log in. So let's see, WSOB, no, OWASP, top 10. And I think I saw something here, I don't remember exactly, but in the injection here, okay, so an injection is whenever the programmers use something like this to create queries, because when you are looking into a database to see if the username, to extract the username and the password, you have to use syntax like this, that to communicate with the database, right? This is how what we're saying here is that we want to select everything, so every single piece of data from the database account where the customer ID is whatever we pass in as an ID. And this is really bad because this is not being sanitized. So if they have this type of request, like if they show this up here, they don't show that here, but we can essentially put anything inside of ID, and they won't even know it. And this because ID 1 is 1, it's going to return true, so we are going to be able to log in, right? And same thing here. So this is really bad, and usually nowadays you need to sanitize any input that the user is giving you so that nobody can actually put a code, some kind of code in here, and then when you get to use it in here and concatenate it into a string, nobody can actually insert any malicious piece of code that will override what you are trying to, as the developer, are trying to do, right? So that's what we are going to do today, right now, actually. So there's nothing there, but there is something here. This is one of the first ones we looked at. And here's one that we can do, bypassing logging screens. SQL Injection 101, login tricks. So if we want to log in as the admin, we can do this, or this. This is putting a comment after everything else. So I guess it might depend on the version or type of SQL, because there's MySQL, there's SQL, and then there's NoSQL. I don't know if NoSQL is SQL, but I don't know. So there's a plethora of options we can try to see if we can bypass this login screen. So let's try the first one. Let's see what that does. So admin, we put a 1 apostrophe and then minus minus, and then we just put whatever password we want there, and we do that. Didn't work. Okay, let's check the next one, which is going to be admin thing and then hashtag. So because I feel like that one's gonna work, because when they asked us what comment was used for this code, what symbol, it was a hashtag, right? So maybe this will work. And it doesn't matter if there's a space or not, it shouldn't, at least. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, there it is. We just copy this, we go over here, go to HTTP and put in the format that it should be in, and then we click submit flag. And there we go. That was it. We have successfully pwned appointment. So I hope you guys learned a lot in this video. I know I learned a few things myself, and I hope you guys liked it as well. If this was of value to you, make sure to click the like button, comment below, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel already. If there's anything you would like to see sometime in the future, let me know in the comments below as well. And if there's anything that I could improve on, also let me know. Thank you so much. If you've made it this far, really thank you. And this really helps my channel and with the algorithm and stuff like that. So thank you, and I'll see you guys later.